What does it mean to be human? What does it mean to be conscious? These are questions that philosophers and scientists alike have been asking since, likely, since the dawn of thinking. Pablo Picasso once said, "Computers are useless. They only give you answers." Now, at a first reading, you might disagree with this because answers are the key to figuring things out. Isn't that the point? Don't you want answers? Well, the answers aren't really the point. If we didn't ask questions, then we would have no access to knowledge in the first place. Asking questions, wondering, pondering, and figuring things out, putting together a puzzle, and recognizing patterns, all of this is central to the human condition and is something that is not really observed in any other species. Think about it. The first people, all of these people long ago, they thought and felt just like you and me. And that also means that they questioned just like you and me. A member of the species Homo erectus starts to ask questions. These are our direct ancestors. And they were the first humans to really, the first of the Homo taxa, our grouping, to really show some of these advanced things that we think of as human. So that's why I call them human and people, because really they are. Around 2 million years ago, this individual sees something, and it sparks something in their head. We can't really know what they saw. Maybe it was a bird carrying a burning branch, or a spark caused by lightning, or maybe just seeing burning embers and moving them and using those just burning embers that aren't actually on fire were the first steps to that first person who mastered fire. This was a huge step and allowed humans to eat meat and allowed for the huge increase in brain size that we see in the genus Homo erectus. Now, this was obviously to imagine thinking of utilizing fire, putting yourself in that perspective where you've had no exposure to it in your whole life, as fire as a thing that you can use, as anything but a danger, and thinking of using it to warm you. You realize it's warm and you want to keep that with you when it's cold. I just think it's amazing to imagine these first people who used fire. Now, getting a little patriotic and closer to home, the American Revolution. Why are we paying taxes without anyone we've picked in office? If searched on a computer, results would be found. Let's see. Because it's best for the country, because the king needs the wealth, because the colonies don't really count, because maybe they would find some of these answers, but that wouldn't really matter. That wouldn't really help or really quench that thirst of why the system had to be that way, why they had to be at a disadvantage when those were advantaged. Ironic, considering they had slaves, but that's another story. But so the whole reason why we have this young country in the first place is because some people decided to ask some questions that got to them in some trouble, but also made it so we are here today in this amazing country where we're able to talk about the things, anything that we really wish to talk about, which I think is absolutely fantastic. Now, in every field, questions are central. Before the space race, people had to look at the sky and just wonder, if we could go there. From Aristotle, with his drawings of flying devices and rockets, to the Romans and on, people dreamed of the stars. Authors like Isaac Asimov and the professional artists like Pablo Picasso himself, they transformed the way we saw the world around us. And Picasso himself transformed the art world as well, changing our perspectives on how exactly art could be done and what was considered art in the first place, and how you could play with perspectives in a way that no one had done before. This is important because playing with perspectives is questioning how we even exist. Art is important for this. Comic book artists and animators would bring to life the ideas of going to space, traveling to Mars, flying through the galaxy long before they would become a reality in the 60s. But then that's when it all came together to actually make it so we could go to the moon and make it into space. And it's just a really triumphant story. And it really shows that without the original questions, answers would mean nothing. Computers, they'll give you answers. But without questioning things, answers are useless. The answers provided by computers should fuel further questions. The secrets of the universe are around us, just waiting for us to ask the right question. So I hope that you can join me in looking for those questions. Thank you. This was an impromptu speech.